Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. I want to talk about using precious metals to hedge against inflation and also how much potential is in this type of investing. It's much different than other types of investments. It's much more complex with a lot more beneficial aspects as well. Now, the precious metals world is very diverse to say the least. There's plenty of different options, but diversification is also extremely crucial when you are looking at something with so many different types of alternatives and so many different types of, alleyways you can go down. Now, depending on whether or where your goals lie will depend on the types of precious metals you can invest into, whether it's short-term, goals, whether it's quick flipping, whether it's more of a long-term hedge. But the point is that precious metals definitely have the most potential with the most beneficial fundamental aspects when you are trying to hedge against the deflating dollar. Now, hyperinflation is definitely real. It's not a fantasy, it's not an illusion, it's not a conspiracy. It's definitely happening every single day, and the financial system is crashing. We're trying to dig ourselves out of debt by using more debt, and this is never going to work. So a lot of people invest in the precious metals as a hedge against inflation, as the system is, or the dollar is losing its purchasing power. A lot of people don't or aren't aware of this, and they don't acknowledge it, so they are trying to save with fiat currency or put their money into something else like stocks, which is also going to be falling since it's pegged to the dollar. Precious metals have intrinsic value, which means the value is lying within the metal itself. So even talking about spot price, comparing it to precious metals is basically irrelevant. So when you're trying to hedge, you definitely want to be diversifying into this to get to reap the benefits of all the different resources that precious metals offer, whether it's gold being able to store a large sum of value within a small area, also silver's under potential or undervalued aspect that it has, being so widely used in the world with a very low supply, as the top three silver productions or silver producers are bypassing silver as it's not as profitable as gold right now. Also, the fundamental values that silver has for as cheap as it is in the industrial world and the many uses it has in the medical world as well. There's so many different uses for silver, so hedging with silver is a perfect undervalued way to also allow your stack to become extremely profitable in the future. Now, patience is definitely key. Silver and precious metals in general is a very slow-paced market, so it's not really about the quick day-to-day trading aspect. If you're looking more for that type of investing, I would definitely look towards stocks or maybe cryptocurrency. But precious metals is more of a transformation of your wealth, or transferring your wealth into something that holds its value. Silver's been deemed valuable for 6,000 years. It was even used in biblical times, and it was saw as magic. And I definitely think a lot of people miss this whole point when they look at precious metals. They look at the day-to-day price and they say, oh, it's only rised or it's dropped a couple pennies or whatever the case is, and it's not as attractive as something like stocks or cryptocurrency that can be rising much faster. But also remember that those types of investments are riskier and they also don't have the same benefits. So when I'm looking at precious metals and I'm hedging against inflation, or I'm putting my money to basically fight the dollar, this also means that you have to be aware of that responsibility, because fiat currency still is extremely liquid. You're still going to need your fiat currency for your everyday life. Yes, precious metals are, real money, but fiat currency is real money as well. You have to still be able to buy your groceries, pay your rent, put gas in your car. You can't do that with silver. So it's not like you're trying to replace your money with more money. It's more like you're transferring some of your fiat currency, quote unquote, to store its value over time. A lot of people don't have the patience to invest into something that might take 10, 20 years to start earning real profits from. And a lot of people are going to be losing, some of those benefits and losing the opportunities because they're not as patient. But patience is always key. Also, when you're looking at the patience aspect of it, this is going to be extremely important if you are looking to flip some of these coins, because the longer you wait, the more time these coins have to appreciate, especially if you're looking at like constitutional silver. And I do want to talk about constitutional silver a little bit because this is where this is a prime example of how beneficial precious metals can be. You know, the gold standard was a real thing back in the day where our money was backed by real value with, you know, the silver content inside of our constitutional coins. But since we don't have the gold standard anymore, hyperinflation is just exploding. You know, if you we're $24 trillion in debt, and our situation is not getting any better anytime soon. But constitutional silver has a unique advantage over different types of precious metals. Now, we stopped making constitutional silver, so this silver is basically, you know, there's a very short supply. What's in circulation is what's going to be left. A lot of it's getting melted down. So if you invest into constitutional silver, almost using that as a separate kind of hedge, you have a unique advantage above other investments and other assets. One, they don't make it anymore, so it's going to be growing in rarity. Like imagine what walking liberties or mercury dimes, how rare they're going to be in 20, 30 years. So that's going to be growing a numismatic value on top of, you know, the silver value as well, almost like Morgan silver dollars, how they're growing in more of a numismatic value over the years now. And the last Morgans were made in 1921, so they have a couple, you know, decades ahead of a kickstart above most constitutional silver, which is pre-1965. But that's a prime example. You know, 30 years from now, constitutional silver won't only be sold for the metal content, but for the numismatic value as well. So you can buy this stuff for around spot price, especially if you go to your local coin shops, getting them for extremely cheap, and you can be setting yourself up for a very profitable stack in the future. You also don't have to worry about the coins getting scratched. You can touch them with your bare hands. It's not like some other bullion or even some high premium silver where you have to wear gloves or you have to worry about milk spotting or anything like that. So there's many benefits that come with that aspect as well. Poured silver is the same type of concept. You know, you can touch it with your bare hands. Actually, a lot of poured silver looks better when it's toned, and you know, so this is stuff that you don't have to worry about with when it comes to storage and security as well. Depending on what type of silver you like, also depending on when you're willing to sell, or your goal of selling is also going to be very pertinent in how you're going to be storing your silver, and also when you want to sell, and also where you're going to be selling to. I always recommend thinking about how you're going to be selling, because buying is just as important as selling, if not more important. You know, selling is more important because it's really easy to buy, but you can't always sell for the same price that you buy at. You're a company, you're a business one day, so you have to set yourself up for that. But hedging against the dollar is going to allow you to have the most potential above any other type of investment when it is time to sell. You know, hyperinflation is something that no one is going to be able to beat. You know, we're in this. It's not about, you know, trying to fight that system. All we can do is find alternatives from our own choices and our own, you know, our own power at will, and the options we have to I guess, put a safety net around that to the best of our ability, which is precious metals. Cryptocurrency is another alternative, but there's a lot of risks involved, and it still basically is pegged to the dollar to some extent, but also doesn't have the same type of factors that, or the same type of benefits that precious metals has. You know, cryptocurrency is all digital, so it's not like you can hold the coin in your hand. We also, a lot of us in the silver stacking world say, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. And that's a model that I really like. You know, it's very true, because what if there's a power outage? What if your wallet gets hacked? What if you lose the private key? Whatever the case is, physical precious metals are the perfect way. Now, when it comes to prepping and SHTF enthusiasts, people like that, precious metals is basically the only answer, because when you're coming to barter or trading something with value, precious metals is basically the only asset that you can do this with from a safe and also relevant standpoint. Anything else would be irrelevant, would be an irrational type of decision to be making if you're investing into it. Just like historically, any time since man has been trading and bartering throughout the world, it's always been used with precious metals. I mean, there's also goods and, you know, stuff like that, but when you're talking about real monetary value, it's always been precious metals. Think of pirates, think back all the way back to 6,000 years ago in biblical times, from the Egyptians. You know, everything has always been traded, a valued currency with precious metals. And that's as simple as that. And it's always going to stay like that. You know, nothing else has the value that it does from an organic, natural standpoint that precious metals do. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I'm curious how you guys hedge against inflation. What are your goals and how is your strategy going to be affected? Also, looking at the incoming years, how is it going to be changing? I know people stacks adjust a lot, and that's also a healthy thing to do because we adjust with the times. Sometimes your situations change and you want to adapt. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. I post daily videos, so stay tuned for that. I'll probably post another video today, so stay tuned as well. This was Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys soon. Peace.